Hello everyone, this is video number 2 for week 3, managing your time, energy, and budget. In video number 1, I went over the PowerPoint for managing your time and energy. In this video, we're going to go over budgeting and how to manage it. So the idea here is being successful in college will cost you time, energy, and money, but this cost will be worth it in the long run if you take steps to manage your money, your time, and your energy. So always kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Yeah, it's going to take some time to do stuff, but in the long run, it'll help. So what's a budget? Budget is simply a plan for spending and saving your money. And for each of you, you are a college student who is in a different place in your life. Some of you are older students who have been away from school for a long time. Others of you might have just graduated from high school. You've got kids, you've got work. So you're all in a different area, especially when it comes to budgeting, money, and finances. So in the book, they talked about different things that you need to do to set up managing your budget. Okay, so as you go through these, maybe you've already got a budget going, you've got a partner, you've got a family at home, you're working on that. But maybe there's something where, you know what, I feel like I'm not getting, the best out of the financing, the income that comes in. Maybe I want to relook at that. And so kind of take this information like that and see if you can apply that to your situation. So in step 1, you want to make sure that you know what's important to you. So make sure that you know what your values are, what is important to you. Make sure you know what your needs are, those basic things that you need for survival, along with your wants, things that we desire to make our lives more satisfying. So with your needs, what do you actually need to survive in college? Okay. So you've got books, you've got tuition, school supplies. So make sure that those are always a priority for you. Maybe transportation to school. Granted, we're all online right now, but again, that would be, you need technology for that. So think about your needs, but then also think about what are some examples of the ones that you may have while in college. Maybe you want to upgrade your computer, but right now your computer that you have is still working. It's still okay. It'll get you a little bit further than what you need. Okay, so make sure that you know the difference between those needs and those wants, because that's going to make a difference on your budget and your money. Step 2, set your goals. Goals are always going to be a big thing in this class. Remember, you've got your goals paper coming up right before spring break. So remember, short-term goals, that would be in the next week, in the next 6 months that you want to make those. Intermediate goals, so 6 months to a year out. And then our long-term goals are greater than a year out. Okay, so when you look at that goals paper assignment, think about it in terms of that. So what's that long-term goal way out there, and what's my short-term goal to get there? Okay, so when you're setting your goals with your budgeting, that's how you can kind of think about them. So know your income, what's coming in and what's going out. All right, this can be a pain, but if you take the time to set out and actually chart it out and do it, it'll be interesting to see what you find. Okay, so your income, is it coming in every week, every 2 weeks, monthly? Is it by semester? Same with your expenses. What are your daily, your weekly, your monthly, your semester expenses? So you can make a chart like this and look at what you spend a week. And on the left, these could be different for you. This is just an example. But maybe you have clothing expenses, gas, maybe that's transportation, eating out, washing clothes if you don't have your own washer dryer, your phone bill, groceries, things like that. Okay, so what does all of that look like for you? Where is your money going? But maybe you say my expenses are too random to budget. So you want to make sure your budget is flexible, and that flexible budget has to have a flexible document. Okay, so the chart that you're making. Okay, so let's look at that spending plan for our income and our expenses. So this could be an income thing for per semester. Maybe you've got grants coming in, scholarships, loans, your job, parent contribution, anything else. Okay, so you can make a column for what you're expecting and then what actually comes in, and then you can see the difference of how you budgeted. Uh, Looking at expenses, so looking at tuition and fees, how much did you budget for that and how much actually went out for books, for rent, for food, and anything else. Okay, and again, these things can change depending on what your needs are. Okay, so this is just an example of what that looks like. All right, so something else to keep in mind when you're budgeting. You want to make sure that you remain qualified for your loans, for your grants, your scholarships, things like that. So that means you have to be earning at least average grades. You need to complete your courses each term, semester, and you want to finish your program on time. It also means that you need to understand as a student how to drop a class and if you should. Okay? Some students find that they can't make it. Instructors, the last time that they can withdraw a student from course is at midterm. After midterm, it's up to the student to withdraw, but they can't wait until the very end of the semester. You have to withdraw about a week or so before finals. That's when the last withdrawal date is. And that is something a student has to do. A teacher can't do that, okay? But if you withdraw yourself from class, that means you're taking a W for the class, and that can affect financial aid, okay? But the W, withdrawing from class, might be better than failing the class with an F grade, okay? So understand that you could go on academic probation is what they call it, if you fail your courses and things like that. All right, so it's always important when you think that you're not going to be able to pass a class or anything, go and talk to your financial aid advisor and your academic advisor, both of them, because they will be able to tell you the best course of action for you. And then finally, stick to your plan. All right, so this is where we have to kind of dig in deep and have some self-discipline, control, your stimuli, your decisions, your responses, your consequences. You want to control your money as best you can. And so that might mean saying no. Remember, we talked about that in the other PowerPoint. Learn to say no on some things. It's okay. And so once you've gone through a week or a month or whatever, looking at your budget, your plan, then go back, question yourself. How well did you stick to your plan? What areas did you have problems in? Were you reasonable in making your goals? And then what changes need to be made? Okay? So remember, you want to make sure that you know what's important to you, your needs and your wants, setting some goals, knowing what's coming in and going out, sticking to a plan, developing that plan and sticking to it. Okay? So those are some ideas that hopefully kind of give you some ideas of how to help with your own plan for budgeting. And hopefully that'll be good information that you can use in your own life. All right. So if you guys had any questions about that, please let me know. In the meantime, make sure that you get everything done for Sunday on Cobra. And I'll talk to you later.